Okay, in this video, what we're going to cover is how to do something in Airtable, which is very common working with data sets that archivists are starting with as flat data and transforming it into data with multiple repeating values, and then also creating an authority list from that table automatically using Airtable. So this, what you're seeing right now, is a typical data set that would have authors, multiple authors, related to one particular record, in this case for an article, that we want to roll up into one field. This would be where that string will eventually go. So it will be actually a series of strings separated with commas so that each value has a set of quotations to account for things like punctuation, commas, dashes, etc., like this, so that is combined into one string and separate it out. And then we're going to convert the field, this author's field, into a multiple select field, which will then have multiple repeating values for different authors. And then from this field, create a linked authority table and a separate table automatically. But to do that, we're going to have to start with the raw data. Not everything you can do in Airtable can be done within Airtable. Some things have to be done first, a little bit of data massaging outside of Airtable. In this case, we didn't start with the authors separated out into separate columns. We started with them looking a little bit like this. So they're used, most of the time, a semicolon is used to separate out the authors. A semicolon with a space. Sometimes, if there's only two, an and. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the text to columns feature within Excel to first separate these out into columns. Now I've indicated that the maximum number of authors in any given record is 4. So we're going to basically take this column and create 4 separate columns with it. So to do that, I'm going to copy this. We just created a new sheet. Copy those values into the first column of the sheet. A couple things have to happen first. First of all, I've got to get rid of those spaces between the semicolons and the next value, because the leading space will make it so that the Airtable cannot translate that into a multiple value string. So we're going to select the column, Control F is what I just clicked, and then this little pull down here says replace. So we're going to replace all the all the semicolon space with just semicolon without a space. So replace all, replace 62 instances. And then again, what we're going to do is we're going to take space and replace that with semicolon. So replace all, actually 110 instances of that. So close that out, keep that column selected. Click on Text to Columns, click on Delimited. You're going to use the semicolon as your delimiter. Click Next. You can preview. In this little pull down, you can see how it's separating out, oops, going very fast, separating out the multiple authors into different fields, different columns. Click Finish. So now you've got B, C, D, and E representing the different columns. I think 4 is the maximum. Somewhere down here you'll see that there's 4. I think it was when I tried it out. I think only 2 out of these 1,600 records actually had 4. Anyway, so after I have pre-cooked this, so to speak, after these have been split out, I just basically cut and paste that entire string into Airtable. I had created 4 blank fields, author 1, author 2, author 3, and author 4, pasted them into these fields, and now to concatenate them into this field, what we're going to do is we're going to use the formula. So go to customize, right, I think it defaults to single line text. So if you go into this little pull down here and say customize field type, there's a pull down menu of types of fields. I'm going to go down to formula. And now for the formula, you can do formulas just like you can do in Excel. I have actually gone back and forth with the Airtable folks to figure it out, and there is a little bit of a trick with concatenating strings and putting quotes and commas, putting quotes around the strings and then commas between the quotes with no spaces. And I can provide this to you, but basically it's the concatenate function with a single quote, a regular double quote, another single quote, a comma, the first value to concatenate, another comma, close that out with the same, and then comma, and then in quotes, a comma, the comma to indicate the next value, and then the same, just repeat. So paste that. And so in here, I'm going to paste that formula. And so it's going to take these four and concatenate them together with quotes and commas between the quotes. So you can see you've got quote, first author, unquote, comma, quote, second author, unquote, comma, etc. So now what? So basically, you're going to change this field 2 more times. You're going to customize field type, and instead of a formula, you're now going to change it into a multiple select field. And we can see that it'll automatically look at what's in this column now and derive a list like this, which shows what's in the quotes. So all of the punctuation is ignored because you've got things in quotes. Click Save. So now you can see that you've got multiple values all split out, very nice, representing these 4. And it looks pretty right now with different colors, but what you're going to need to do now to make these, create a authority list, a linked table, is you want to go again to customize field type. And this time, go to link to another record. Now if there's an existing table you would want to link to, that's a different scenario. In this scenario, you want to create a new table. And what it's going to do, after I click Save, it's going to say you're going to convert this field type, yes. So no longer pretty colors, but they're still separated out into multiple values. And over here, we have all the authors, and they've been deduplicated. So you have one author per line, and here you have every single record that is linked to that author listed out. You can actually, if you want to see them, you can actually make this extra tall or just medium. I'm going to stay short so we can look at this. And actually, if you want to start examining and looking at how many authors or which authors have the most representation in your data set, you can create a count field. And the count field automatically rolls up counts linked data. So you're going to look, it's going to automatically pull up whatever linked data you have in here. So it looks at Le Bon Institute data, click Save, and this is basically the number of records that match Gail Lee Abrams. If you want to look here at what authors are most highly represented in your data set, you can sort ascending, or you can do a filter like where count is more than 10, things like that. But that's basically it. That's how you create a authority list. You can concatenate multiple values and roll them up into one with repeating values, and then create a new authority list. Now, if you want, what I would do is once this is done, go ahead and delete these, or you can hide them if you want to keep them separated out for any further use. I'm going to go ahead and delete them like this, and now you have your authors all done.